What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to more Danganronpa 3 discussion videos. So today, we're going to be doing episode 4 of the Future Arc. So I forgot to mention this last time, which I don't know why, it's a pretty big detail, but Yoi and Ruruka, I don't know how to say her name, meet up with Seko and basically, or Kimura, and they like hate each other, and they're calling themselves traitors, and they're like, "You're the traitor." And she eats like all these pills, and then she becomes like a Super Saiyan basically, and she gets like super long hair, and she just chases after them. So yeah, that's kind of where this episode picks up. So give me 1 second. So the episode starts out with Monokuma basically reviewing what has happened the past 3 episodes. So, yeah, and then the awesome opening plays. And Sakakura comes up, and I strongly believe that his forbidden action is punching, because he has not punched ever since Monokuma gave the bracelet out. So, that's my theory. And he keeps throwing chairs at people, so I'm pretty sure that his thing is not being able to punch. So then he throws the chair at Kirigiri, Ryota, and Tengen, and Tengen's like, "All right, just calm down now." And he basically just says, "You know what? I don't care that you're the chairman. I work for Munakata." He's like, "Oh, well, about that." And then he just like, I believe he kicks him, and he goes flying, and then he also hits Ryota with the chair, and he falls onto Kirigiri's foot. And I don't know if she like broke her foot or anything, but it definitely looked like it hurt. So that's like a handicap, I guess. And then he's about to hit them again, but then all of a sudden this like bullet just comes out of nowhere, and they're like, "What?" And he's like, "What the heck was that?" And he just sees Tengen, and he is about to punch him, and then he stops mid-place, and then Tengen just like punches him, and he goes flying up against the wall, and it's just like, yes, that looked awesome. And so yeah, that also is another piece of evidence. And then Asahina and Kirigiri meet up with or is that later? I'm not entirely sure. No, they meet up with Kirigiri and everyone there first, and Ryota is like upset. He's like, "Why can't I be like Naegi?" And Kirigiri just basically says, "Well, you're you. You're not Naegi, so don't want to be Naegi. Just be yourself." And then he's like, "Oh, okay." Then Munakata comes on the air, and through the PA system, and basically he says, I have Makoto captured here, and I'm about to kill him, so come stop me if you don't want to see him die." And Kirigiri basically says it's a trap, like there's no way that he'll actually kill him. It's just a bait to lure us. It's like, "I'll go and talk with him to try and negotiate." And then Tengen basically says, "No, I'll go if you're trying to negotiate." And then the halfway point breaks, and Nagi wakes up, and he's like, "Wait, you're not gonna kill me?" And then he says, "Alright, think about it like this. Obviously you're not the attacker. So, Makoto, what's the worst possible outcome of this?" And he says, "Well, everyone dies except for the attacker." And he's like, "No, you're completely wrong. So imagine that I was killed, and then the killing stopped. What then?" And he's like, "Well, that would mean that you're the traitor." And he's like, "Or wait a minute, the killer can stop at any time. He could just fake someone's death and then stop." And he's like, "Exactly. And that way, they would infiltrate Future Foundation, and using your hope, turn everyone into despair. So therefore, you and anyone who feeds off of your hope must die." It's like, wait, that took a really weird turn. Can you repeat that? No, he didn't actually say that, but then and then Makoto basically says, "That's not hope. You can't get hope from sacrificing people." And then he says, "Oh yeah, how did you stop Junko and Oshima? There were a couple sacrifices made." And he's about to like stab Naegi, but Tengen shoots the blade away with like this. I think it's called a chusen. Sorry if I messed that up, but it's like it looked like a gun in his sleeve. It wasn't a gun, but it like shot stuff, and he knocked the blade out of his hand. And then after that, there's basically Ryota and Kiryuri went to the original place, like the meeting room. Meanwhile, Asahina and Gekogahara go someplace. And so they go to the meeting room where they had the meeting in the first episode. And Kizakura is there. And he's like, "Oh, I should be around a detective around times like this." And I don't know. I suspect him right now, but I think it's too obvious. I think Kizakura right now is the traitor, but I don't know because it's like that's too obvious. Come on. So, anyways, blah, blah, blah. Then she like examines the body or something. So basically, Asahina and Gekogahara went with Tengen, and they get Naegi, put him on Gekogahara's like her wheelchair thing, like her super speed thing, and then meanwhile back at the meeting office, Ryota asks Kiryuri like, "Who do you think the mastermind is?" She's like, "There's not enough information yet, but you probably have an idea, don't you? I mean, you have information, but you want to hear other people's opinions first." And then he's like, "Well," and then it just cuts, so I assume he has an idea. So then Sakakura sees Asahina, Gekogahara, and Naegi. God, these are too many names, people. And he's like, "Oh, I'll chase after them." But along the way, he sees that Munakata is still fighting Tengen. So he's like, "Oh, Munakata, I'll help." And he's like, "No, go chase after Naegi." And he's like, "Okay." And so they keep on fighting. Meanwhile, alright, Yoi and Ruraka, I guess I'll call her that because I don't remember her name at the moment. But they're hiding from Seko or Kimura, and she's like trying to open the door, and she basically is. She's like halfway through, and she's like, "You expelled me from Hope's Peak High. You're the traitor." And they're like, "No, you expelled us from Hope's Peak High. Do you know how much we had to go through?" And she's just like, "You're the traitor." And then they like kept on running after that. And then after that, you see more of the Tengen versus Munakata fight, which was really awesome, by the way. Like, he was throwing him around, and then he's reasoning with Munakata. He's like, "Okay, so you think that sacrifices are necessary? So then, was Yukizome's death also necessary?" And then he gets really angry, like chops, like not half, but like a lot of his hand. Like he puts the sword into what's his face, Tengen's hand, and he just doesn't care, and he grabs Munakata and like brings him off the edge with him, and they're on like multiple different bridges. And meanwhile, then it goes back to Naegi, Asahina, and Gekogahara, and they see Sakakura's coming, so then Gekogahara goes and starts like firing missiles, but then he cuts back to Munakata, and he's like, "Why are you laughing?" Because Tengen was laughing. He's like, "Well, it seems like I was the unlucky one in this situation." He's like, "I was going to kill you, but I want to hear your ideas." So then is revealed that when Sakakura pushes over Gekogahara, the person controlling Gekogahara, because Gekogahara is actually a robot, is Monica from Ultra Despair Girls, which I have not played or seen. So I don't really know if that's a big deal, if I'm being honest. I don't know. I like this episode. It was really cool. It had a lot of action, and I can't wait to see the next episode. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Did remember to like, comment, subscribe. Do you want to see anything Danganronpa? Go check out the rest of this playlist, and I'll see you all in the next review. Peace out.